I'm trying to figure out why David Hillman laughed when you said chief visionary. Don't do that, David. Can we give Brad Seaman another round of applause? He is absolutely right. He is. I miss having him go before me and then clean up when I say something crazy, which I'm often likely to do. Before I get started, I'll try to be very brief. You've been very patient with us. If I could have those members who currently work for the county government stand up so we can give them a round of applause. Betty, Tahani. You did the right thing, Dr. Maxwell. You'll get that later. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to try and be brief. I think you understand why you're here and why we asked you here. We've had some really terrific speakers. Thank you, Carol Thompson, for bringing VPP here to Prince George's County. I knew VPP when I worked in the nonprofit world, and I tried for 10 years to get VPP's money and partnership, and it didn't work. And Artist Hampshire Calvin said, well, we got to get them out here to the county. And when Artist tells you to do something, you just find a way to do it. So I do what I do best, and I said, Bradford, we got to get VPP out here to the county. And they brought him in. But really what I want to talk to you about is, why this is so important. And unlike, Dr. Maxwell, in the conversation I was having with David Hillman, and I tell this story a lot, but I normally tell it to young people, figuring they've never seen me speak before, so it's new to them. Those who know me know it's not new. And the story I tell is about guilt. Guilt is a very powerful thing. Just think about it for a minute. It's very powerful. And in my life, it was the most powerful thing that ever happened to me. And it was because as a child growing up, I struggled in school. I repeated the first and the second grade, so I was 2 years older than my peers. I got kicked out of every school in the United States and 2 in Okinawa, Japan. So clearly there was nothing to indicate in my background that I would achieve much, let alone go to college. But I had 2 parents. No matter what I did, it never occurred to them that their little boy was never going to college. It never occurred to them that every time I did something and every time I failed, that they should not be there to undergird me. It never occurred to them. It was life. They wrapped around the services we're talking about right now into my life. It never occurred to me that that's what they were doing. Until I was 17 years old, went to a school in Beverly, Massachusetts, where I was the only black child, other than my brother, in that school. And my teacher, because I played football, believe it or not, I was a football player. I couldn't go to Howard and play football, but I was a football player. But in order for me to play football, I had to have at least a C average. And a teacher in that school made me do extra credit. And she made me read 1 or 2 books. I had a choice, Wuthering Heights or Black Boy. Being the smart 17-year-old that I am, I picked Black Boy. It was reading Richard Wright's life and story that made me realize the difference between me and my cousins. Why at family reunions people were talking about their interaction with the law. And I couldn't figure out why that was. And the reason was because I was blessed. I was blessed. I didn't struggle. I didn't have to quit school and go to the Navy. I didn't have to make a choice between work or school. And it made me feel guilty as hell. That here I was, given all of this, and I took it for granted. It was at that moment that I decided that I had to do something to assuage my guilt. I had, at 17, to make sure everybody I knew had the same opportunities that I got simply because I was blessed. And it was my father, who I was debating with or watching TV, watching somebody on, a politician, a local politician, and I was raving about how this guy just doesn't care. The community's been the same. He's been there 20 years, nothing has changed. And he said, if you think you can do better, you should run. And I said, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to prove that you can hold on to your values and change a community. Guilt. From that day to this day is what motivates me. Second person I blame for guilt is my wife. Yes, she's a dear, great person, and I love her very much, and she makes me guilty every single day. Every single day that I am county executive, I am guilty. Because for 8 years of her life and my children's life, I wanted to be county executive. I thought about nothing else but how I can be county executive. And for 8 years of her life, she did nothing but pour that into me and do everything she possibly can to make sure I became county executive. And I feel guilty. Because when you sacrifice 8 years of your life, 8 years of your children's life for somebody's dream, it's not for them to sit in an office, be driven around, or to stand still. It is for you to do the things that you said you were going to do. It is for you to provide the opportunities that everybody should get that you got. It is for you to provide dynamic change. That's what I asked Brad Seaman to do. He's got it wrong when he talks about T&I. I did not ask about T&I. I said, Brad Seaman, why can't my government respond the way that the police department does? That's what I want. Brad Seaman, why can't people in Suitland get the same education that I got? That's what I want, and I want it now. So when we ask you to invest in this program, it's not because we just simply want you to do that. No. It is because I feel so guilty, I don't have a problem telling you I want you to be part of this. It's because I feel so guilty that I want you to feel guilty also. To say, why did we miss that child? Why didn't we provide them with the skills that would enable them to get a job, to make them college ready? Why? Why don't we have more Brandons? I want that to be the nagging thing in your voice and say, how can I change it? How can I change it in a way that people feel it long after I'm county executive? I'll end with this, and this is something Mr. Hillman said. We were talking about how he started his program at the University of Maryland or Prince George's Community College, and he said it started with a conversation of Ron Williams asking him about naming a building after himself. He said, no, there was no building named after me. I want to be able to put kids through college who can make enough money to afford an apartment and pay rent. Sounds pretty simple. I don't want a building named after me. I don't want a building named after you. I want some child that we don't know sit in this restaurant years from now, mentoring another child we don't know, talking about a program and not remembering who started it, but knowing that it changed their life. God bless you.